Hi, what you are about to watch is a discussion on the Colin Kaepernick NFL protest and its aftermath. This protest started in August of 2016 when Kaepernick sat during the national anthem saying,
"There's a lot of things that need to change. One specifically is police brutality. There's people being murdered unjustly and not being held accountable. Cops are getting paid leave for killing people. That's not right. That's not right by anyone's standards."
The protest picked up steam as President Trump got involved as well, which led to the NFL making new rules on protesting during the national anthem. I sat down with Caleb Ham and a retired Army vet, Jeff Balka, to discuss these events. Enjoy. Hey, welcome to the open discussion here that I'm having. My name is Manny Adeyeye. This is Jeff Balka. We have Caleb Ham here. And the interesting thing about this discussion right now, we have a professional athlete who's also a Fordham alum, and we have a retired Army vet who's also a Fordham alum, and we have myself, who's as well a Fordham alum. And this is an open discussion pretty much talking about the Colin Kaepernick situation that's taken off from Colin Kaepernick taking a knee back in August of 2016, 2015, in the response to just the Black Lives Matter movement, the police brutality that's going on in America. And the reason why I have you gentlemen here today, because I think that we all have three different opinions of what the situation is going on is. And we see it from three different perspectives, at least. So my first initial question, I'm gonna send it to you first, Jeff, is when you first heard about Colin Kaepernick taking a knee, before any of the hoopla of it being connected to the military or the Army or whatever it was, what was your first thoughts?
You know, it's completely his right, it's completely his platform to make statements like that. I mean, it very much falls under freedom of speech, and like I honestly think any veteran who's honest with himself is going to agree with that, or him or herself, I should say. I mean, I wasn't upset about it. I mean, there's lots of things you are legally allowed to do that just because you're legally allowed to do it doesn't mean like I'm going to do it, but like that's part of it. Like it's in the Constitution. Yeah. You can do it if you need to. So and I don't disagree with him. The whole thing is kind of snowballed at this point, obviously, but it's certainly in like the immediate moments surrounding it. I mean, it's not like I was like running to rally behind him, but I wasn't one of those people who was immediately jumping on whatever social media platform I had at my disposal to like rant and rave about it, which a lot of people did.
And I feel like that's interesting because I feel like if I'm Colin Kaepernick, how did I even come to this decision? I'm going to take a knee while I was sitting for the national anthem. Caleb, my question to you would be, you being an athlete at the time, you were still playing football at Fordham when this went down. Yeah. Seeing all these the deaths of Philando Castile and other people of Black Lives Matter that's made it take off. If you were in his position, what do you think you would have done differently, or maybe not differently? But what would you have done instead of taking a knee? Because this seems to not have been the right thing to do because America's kind of split on it. So what do you think you probably would have done in that moment?
I think his timing just wasn't too hot. He wasn't starting with the 49ers at the time, and he wasn't playing well. At that point, it's a distraction for the team. I'm happy that he protested. That's his choice. That's his, he's free to protest whatever he wants. But in the platform that he did in at the time, it wasn't necessary. If let's say he was a starter and was playing good. I feel like he could have done it. He'd been fine.
Yeah, I find it.
The position he was in.
Yeah, I find it interesting because, like you said, he wasn't even a starter, and it was even funnier because he started off by just sitting down. So he sat down in a preseason game, a game that really means nothing for him or anyone of value. He sat down, and then people took notice of this, and then another retired NFL player and Army vet, Nate Boyer. Mm-hmm. Nate Boyer, he spoke to Cap and said, listen, I like what you're doing. What you're doing is good, it's a good cause, but I'd rather you take a knee. And I think this is one of the most interesting things about this entire bubble of the whole Colin Kaepernick situation and where it's taken, because if a retired vet is giving him the right to take a knee because he states Soldiers, you take a knee in front of your.
Yeah, I mean that there are a lot of connotations with that in the military, and I mean it's not a negative thing. It's like something you say. Like going back to like school when I was at West Point, like guys would go out, they'd be hungover at a parade or something, and the joke was I was like, hey, don't be a hero, take a knee.
Take a knee.
But stuff like that. So
That's
yeah,
great.
it's interesting.
That's what really blew my mind, because he got what he needed, the certification that he wanted.
Yeah.
And I feel like, okay, so fallen soldiers, soldiers take a knee in front of fallen soldiers. You take a knee when you pray at times. Tebowing was a thing that took off for the NFL.
I'd forgotten about that.
There was a whole Tebow thing. Everyone was taking a knee at one point. But the sad part about it turns into a racial situation. Because it's like, okay, what are you taking a knee for? I don't think we can support that. Is that the issue that's really the problem?
Wait, for the NFL or for the military?
I think for the nation, because the nation wasn't happy with it, and I think the problem was.
Well,
yeah.
The issue is there's a lot of, I mean, you guys grew up here, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, you guys are very used to like living in a diverse place where like not everyone thinks the same thing, looks the same way. So it's a little bit different for you guys. Like I grew up in Indiana. Like where I grew up is like. It's uncomfortably homogenous now.
Really?
When I go home. Like it's weird. And there are a lot of people in the United States of all colors, creeds, genders, whatever background, who they just get really upset when anyone throws anything in their face, whether it's right or wrong. Their immediate response is like a visceral, knee-jerk reaction, and like there's almost like a wave of it through social media, through news outlets. And I think people pick sides based on their Facebook feeds, and we've been going on. We kept that trajectory the whole time. I mean, it's remarkable. Like I mean, there's a lot of polarization in the nation on pick a topic, and you're going to find two completely opposite sides who can't find a nice thing to say about the other side, but. Yeah, and it's upsetting. I mean, they're the ones who get all the airtime. The common sense people who are at least willing to have a discussion about stuff. They're the ones who just get sidelined. Yeah. You get completely sidelined because you're not a crazy person. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's what it was. I mean, there's a handful of the right people got super upset super quick, and they took over. They hijacked the entire discussion.
Yeah, I think that's what really took it up to where it is now today.
Yeah.
Because now it became an issue once President Trump came to the picture. President Trump decided to call the NFL players SOBs, and as a president, I don't even think that's okay in the first place.
Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a bitch off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
But that's not very presidential anyway. That's actually a completely different topic.
Yeah.
But so once he did that, this finally took off. And then we see a lot more NFL players. Before it was probably less than 20. Now we see pretty much every team this past season took a move. Caleb, my question to you would be, being in a setting where you're in a team environment, and you might have guys from Indiana, you might have guys from New York, you're from Georgia. Right. Everyone's opinion is gonna be different. People you're not used to things like that being thrown into your face. How would you, since you say you support Cap, how would you show your support? Would you also take a knee? Would you let it be and just follow suit of the rules? Like, what do you think you would have done?
Well, I know that this year we had a team meeting. You remember we had a team meeting with Coach regarding the issue. People taking a knee during the national anthem, and we had to come to a consensus as a team of what we were going to do. And if you wanted to take a knee, you'd come talk to Coach, let him know that you're going to take a knee. Remember, we had an issue with that with Chase.
Yeah.
And Chase took a knee, and Coach just got fired up and really got mad at him. But it was a miscommunication. It's all about communication, along with the team. So for me to be able to do that, I have to let the team know, look, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing for it, this is why I'm doing it, and you're welcome to join me. But in that case, it's all about communication.
Yeah, I think you make a very valid point. I think what we saw from a lot of NFL teams, where a lot of teams were pretty much on the same page. On who would take a knee, what was going to happen. We saw with the Steelers, there was a retired Army vet who decided to come out, where the rest of the team didn't come out for anything. And I think that's fully expected. I mean, I feel like you would probably do the same thing, being in the shoes.
I mean, it gets tricky. I mean, you obviously have competing loyalties, but yeah, I mean, sure, I would.
Yeah, and I think that's what the hard part was, because the narrative switched. The narrative switched, and it was pretty much clouded, because it was now it's not. It was never about Black Lives Matter. It was never about the police brutality. Now it's about disrespecting the flag. Who's going to disrespect the flag every Sunday? That's what changed, and I think that's where the message got lost. At least Colin Kaepernick's message got lost.
Very much.
Yeah, and I think that has to do a big part with President Trump, because he brought it to more of a national scale.
Yeah.
And now we see NFL is losing viewers. A lot less people are watching the NFL. Listen, a lot of people are like this, I'm out. I can't really support the NFL. We don't even know where the NFL stands, period, on whichever line they're on. But the NFL recently came out with a new rule on the kneeling. So the first part of the rule is everybody who is on field and on present must stand. That's non-negotiable. Second part, if you don't want to stand, you have the liberty, you have the option to go into the locker room and wait it out. The third part is, if you don't go in the locker room and wait it out, and you are outside on field doing fist up, kneeling, or any type of gesture that's deemed inappropriate, I guess, your organization, your team will be fined, and the punishment falls on the entire organization. That's really mind-blowing. This was a decision that was made about 3-4 weeks ago, maybe a little less. The NFL owners came out and unanimously made this decision on their own. This is what's really crazy to me, because, Caleb, I feel like if you're a player who decides, you know what, I'm going to go inside, now you're the only player who's not outside. And now it's a bigger issue, because now the media's going to come to you after the game and say, okay, you're the only person who didn't come out. Why? And what would how would you handle that situation? What would you have to do?
Well, you have to just be honest and tell them your view and why you didn't come out there. Of course, you don't want to get fined, and you don't want to make too much of a big scene. It's the rules, so you don't want to just put your team in a bind. Because the rules pretty much made to it's for the viewers, it's for the money. You know what I mean? So you don't want to lose viewers. The league doesn't want to lose viewers. The team doesn't want to lose viewers. So it's all about money, right? At that point.
Yeah, and I would have to agree with you. I think it's a hard position to be in, because you want the message to be out. You want people to understand that there's a problem going on in the nation. At the same time, Jeff, rules are rules. I mean, the Army is seen as the most disciplined organization that you can ever be a part of, and to be part of that and see a rule like this, I guess, in the NFL that, let's say, you probably weren't agreeing with, how tough is it you might have to just bite the bullet?
Oh, and just follow the rules?
Just follow the rule.
I mean, I followed lots of rules for different reasons, various reasons. I mean, this one, I actually have a question concerning, what is the players' union doing about this? And do they actually have any power in it?
That's what the big issue was about this rule. So when this rule came out, it was not collectively bargained.
Yeah.
So collective bargain is, for those who don't know, is when we have the players' union and you have the owners. When you come together and collectively bargain and collectively negotiate a new rule, a new idea. This was seen as like a stab in the back.
Yeah.
Because the players' union was not brought into the conversation. The owners did this by themselves. And that's what's really funny, because this is the owners feeling pressure from Donald Trump. Donald Trump back in 2014 wanted to be an NFL owner. He wanted to own the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
They said no, and verbatim Trump said, I kid you not, okay, I will come after the NFL. Now I'm going to try and run for president. And he did that. So now it's like, you know what, Donald Trump, this is what he needed to get his whole plan going from back in 2014. And he's gotten what he wanted from the NFL. The NFL is now, no one knows what to do. Like people are really debating, should we watch NFL, should we not? He's single-handedly destroyed it.
Yeah, it's actually funny we're talking about this. I did a project for one of my MBA courses about restructuring governance within the NFL and how we think that our group, argue that could positively affect some of the viewership issues based around player-league relationship deterioration. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. This new rule seems unfortunate. It almost seems like I wonder if there's maybe some way that's violating freedom of speech, but I don't know. I'm no lawyer. But the other thing is like, ultimately it's not as visible, but ultimately you're still able to make the same statement. Like, you know what I mean? Especially if like if your team, if there's a crew of y'all who want to, go in for the national anthem, like, you can still kind of like collectively march in there and then come back out and everyone knows what just happened.
Exactly.
And then, and honestly, I mean, I don't think this rule is going to fix the president's issue with the NFL. I don't at all, because I think that's exactly what's going to happen, and I think it's going to completely backfire on the commissioner. Actually, I think it's going to end up being just as big as an issue as it was before, because ultimately it's going to be doing almost the same things as it was last season. It's just now it's like it's supported by the NFL commissioner. So
yeah, I think
I don't think it's going to fix it. And honestly, I don't know if it's something that needs to, well, and here's the other thing, is there's a couple of things here. Like, it doesn't necessarily need to be fixed in terms of like rights of people to protest, because that's something like, obviously you have the right to do it. You should do it if you feel strongly about it. The issue is for the NFL. Like, the NFL is trying to protect not a failing, but a struggling business model at this point. So it depends on, I guess, where the players want to, what they want to throw their weight behind, I guess. I mean, I don't know if you can do both. Honestly, it's tough. So maybe there's a platform that players who feel strongly enough can use that isn't going to hurt the, viewership of the NFL or the, overall, what's the word?
The overall, I guess, picture of the
Yeah, sure. That works.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. I think it's not going to fix things. I think it's just interesting because overall it boils down to I guess the elephant of the situation, which no one ever wants to talk about, the race issue, the fact that the race issue, and the fact that our nation is probably in a very, not really in the best place, where you can have a guy like President Trump. The thing about politicians say things to acquire votes. President Trump, since he started his entire campaign, past race, past other issues, past this issue itself, has said the most craziest things and found a way to become our president. I think our nation is in a bad place, and it's not really about Trump. Just the fact that this is an issue. An issue like this is an issue. To get off topic, building a wall from Mexico and things like that. The problem, this is issues that we're facing in this country, it's sad, and I don't know if we really can. I don't know where we're gonna go. I don't know how we bounce back from this situation. So that is our discussion. Thank you, gentlemen. I think this went really well. I was pleasure doing business with you guys. So you guys can go ahead and shake hands. Get in there. Just overall, everyone should. This shirt does not say be positive. It says be positive. Be positive, be happy. Spread good news, spread smiles, good cheer, and have a good day.